This is page 83 of your math journal. We're going to call this one Solving Equations with Multiplication. Or Solving Multiplication Equations, that would be a better one. Alright, to start off with, I want to talk about how an equation is like a balance scale. So if I have a scale, we're going to draw like a teeter-totter here. This being equal, if it's like a balance scale, and I have 1, 2, 3 x's over here. And over here on this side of the balance scale, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 dots. Alright, the equation that we are representing here is 3x equals 12. See it in the picture, 3 x's equals 12 of these. So, if we're trying to figure out what each x is, I want to do the same thing to each side. So I want to know what x is. Well, here I'm multiplying. I have 3 groups of this. So what is the opposite of multiplying? Division. So if I take and I divide this into 1, 2, 3 groups, over here I want to see your side, see what you're doing. So over here you're dividing by 3. If I divide that by 3, that gives me 1x in every group. That means I have to divide this into 3 groups as well. So 1, 2, 3 groups. So each x is worth, I meant to put that into this, is worth one of these groups. So if I split this 3 ways as well, I get that x is worth 4. Now check your answer. If I do 3 times 4, I get 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Those match and they check. Okay, this is a lot like the other equations we were doing. Remember how we found the variable? So right here, let's write our steps again. So 1, find the variable. 2, we want to find the operation that we need to undo, or identify, there we go. Identify operation to undo. Okay, 3, solve by undoing. Both sides of the equation. With the opposite operation. So like up here, first of all we said we have x. It was being times by 3, so we solved by dividing both sides by 3 and got 4. And then the fourth thing I want you to always do is check your answer and make sure it's reasonable. Check your answer by plugging it back into the original equation. let's try a couple of examples. I'd like you to write down these 3 equations. So let's do 42 equals 14m. Let's do 1.8 equals 0.9 G, and let's do 3/5 M equals 9. Alright, so first step, find the variable. In this one, it's M. Identify the operation to undo, 14m, this is multiplying. So to undo that, I'm going to divide, because division is the opposite of multiplying. So I'm going to divide by 14 here. That's going to cancel it out, but I have to divide by 14 over here. 42 divided by 14 is 3. So that leaves me with m on this side, 3 on this side, so m equals 3. Now this is where I check my answer by plugging it back in. 14 times 3 equals 42. Let's check. Sometimes you know it's obvious. Other times don't just plug it in and say, yep, I'm right. Check it. I'm going to do 14 times 3 just to make sure I'm right. 4 times 3 is 12. Regroup 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. So yes, this indeed is 42. So I know that my solution is correct. Okay, decimals, same process. This is, my variable is G. So now I'm going to identify my operation. Well, 0.9 times G, I'm going to undo by dividing. Okay, we can write a divide sign like we did, or we can write as a, like this. They both mean divide. It's going to cancel that out. But that means I'm going to divide this by 0.9. So on this one, that leaves me with G on this side equals, I've got to figure that out. So 1.8 inside the box, 0.9 outside the box. Move the decimal once. Oh, well, that's easy. 9 goes into 18 2 times, minus 18. Gives me 0, so my answer is 2. Okay, check my answer, plug it back in. 1.8 equals 0.9 times 2. 0.9 times 2, just making sure that my work is correct. A lot of times you are right, but sometimes you're not, and if you just assume that you're right, then you're not sure if you don't check. So 2 times 9 is 18, regroup 1, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1, and 1 place behind the decimal. So yes, I got 1.8. Those match. Okay, same thing with the fraction here. This is the kind of problem, for some reason, that a lot of students struggle with. Just remember, you know how to work with fractions. This is 3/5 times m. So how am I going to undo timesing m by 3/5? I'm going to divide by 3/5. That'll cancel it out here and leave me with m, but I have to divide this by 3/5 as well. Okay, remember how to divide whole numbers and fractions. Keep the first, so 9, and I'm going to put over 1. Flip the second, so I've got 5 over 3. Change the sign. Okay, I can cross cancel here. 3 goes into both of those. That leaves me with 3 times 5 on top, which is 15 over 1. So my answer is 15. Okay, how do I check and make sure my answer is right? Plug it in. So 3/5 times m, which I'm saying is 15, should give me 9. Let's prove it. 3/5 times 15 over 1. Cross cancel the 5 and the 15. That would give me 3 here and 1 here. 3 times 3 is 9 over 1. That for sure is 9. Okay, once again, it's just like the adding and subtracting. You just have to know that the opposite of multiplication is division. So that's why we've divided on all of these. Okay, now if you can solve them, it's really helpful to be able to write them to match real life problems. So we're going to try this. Melinda bought £5.4 of apples. If it cost a total of, oh, let me scoop that over. There we go. If it costs a total of $6.21, what was the cost per pound of apples? Write an equation and solve. Alright, first of all, to write an equation, we need to look at what we have, what's mathematically going on, and to find any variables if we have them. So Melinda bought 5.4 pounds of apples. Do I know how much the apples cost? No, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to say C equals cost of a pound of apples. Okay, we defined that variable. Now how would I find that? Well, I take the pounds of apples and I multiply them by the price, and that gets me my total, which was $6.21. Make sure your equation matches up with your story. Pounds times the cost will give me my total, so that sounds about right. Okay, so my variable is C. It's being timed by 5.4. So how I'm going to undo that is I'm going to divide by 5.4. Okay, if I divide by 5.4, I have to do it to both sides. Okay, so 6.21 is going to go inside the box. 5.4 outside the box. Move the decimal over one time. Put in my answer. Alright, we've got our setup. Now let's go ahead and do the math. 54 will go into 62 one time. So I'm going to minus 54. Have to borrow here. 12 minus 4 is 8. 5 minus 5 is 0. Bring down the 1. 54 goes into 81 another time, one time. So minus 54 gives, I have to borrow here again. 7. 11 minus 4 is 7. Seven minus 5 is 2. And x is 0. Keep going. 54 goes into 270. Not sure about that. 4 or 5 times, I'm going to try 5. So 54 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Ooh, that looks promising. 5 times 5 is 25, 26, 27. Perfect. minus 270 leaves me with 0. So I got an answer. I got 1.15. In this case, that'd be $1.15 per pound. C equals the cost per pound of apples. So we're saying it costs $1.15 per pound. But how do you make sure you're right? Well, check your answer. Plug it back in. So 5.4 times 1.15. Let's see what we get. 4 times 5 is 20. Regroup 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. 0 placeholder. 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 1 is 5. Add it up. 0. This would be 11. Regroup 1. That would be 5. 5 plus 7 is 12. Regroup 1. And 6 and 1, 2, 3 behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3 behind the decimal. So I got 6.210. I don't need that 0 on there. So I am proving that 621 and 621 match. I checked my answer by multiplying it back in with the equation, and it worked. So my final thing is it's $1.15 per pound of apples.